A new New York Times Siena College poll showing just 33% of Americans approve of President Joe Biden's job performance. The poll also shows that 64% of Democrat voters want somebody else other than Joe Biden to be the 2024 Democratic presidential nominee. Age, job performance, the leading reasons why voters want somebody else on the ticket. Joining me now, Washington Examiner commentary writer Tiana Lowe. Tiana, it's not surprising.
No, it's not. You and I both know that from the beginning, Joe Biden was not elected to be a transformational president. He was not elected to be the most progressive president since FDR, as he pledged to say, as he pledged to be in his own words. He was elected to be a warm body, to be elected over the previous president, who, unlike him, had a floor among his own supporters. The real issue for Joe Biden is that he doesn't have a real base. The Democratic Party is not intractable when it comes to voting for him. You see it not just among, the young activist class that rapidly turned against him once they realized that you can't magically make a 50-50 Senate pass things that can't be passed through reconciliation. You're seeing it with his losses among older voters, men, and crucially, Hispanic voters, who we all know are being hit the hardest by the stagflation that he has brought through the American Rescue Plan and adding an extra $2 trillion of deficit spending onto a budget that was already stretched beyond thin.
I said this a while ago, well, not that long ago, that Joe Biden, by many, was elected to be a palate cleanser, like a light champagne sorbet, if you will, between courses. And instead, he's like an old crab cake somebody found out in the yard and is fed to the American people, and you're getting food poisoning from it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the fact is, remember how much he campaigned specifically on a return to normalcy. When you think about how he launched his campaign, the aberration that was Charlottesville, when you think about what he said specifically about Donald Trump's character, not about Republicans in general, but he focused it all on, I will be the return to normalcy. I have respect for norms. What about any of this is normal, Dagan? I mean, just look at his response to Dobbs alone. It's do nothing, but also simultaneously try and undermine the legitimacy of the Supreme Court. That sounds a little insurrection-y to me, to talk about taking executive action to not abide by what the highest court in the land is saying. You don't have a president. He is, I'm sorry, but the man is, pushing 80 now. He is not making his regular visits down to the Hill the same way that he did under the Obama administration. That Joe Biden was very integral to that White House in helping get stuff done in Congress and helping get stuff done in the Senate. But this Joe Biden doesn't know how to do that. So what do you also have? Further undermining the legitimacy of Congress as a body, but the Senate specifically. His just unwillingness to try and get bipartisan action, which is why, to me, it's shocking that gun control legislation got done on a bipartisan basis. And notice that Joe Biden had nothing to do with it. Like the bill, hate the bill. The fact is, stuff gets done when Joe Biden and his administration is not involved. That's a problem for a president who who hedged everything on being, quote unquote, transformational.
All you get out of Biden is blame for problems that he created or his administration created. He's facing backlash for a tweet blaming Republicans for the nation's economic problems. Here's the tweet from last night. Republicans, this is a quote, Republicans are doing nothing but obstructing our efforts to crack down on gas price gouging, lower food prices, lower health care costs, and hopefully soon lower your prescription drug cost. This is not right. And that's why this election is going to be so darn important. While on the campaign trail for the presidency in 2022, Biden took an altogether different tone. This is a tweet from June of 2020. It is hard to believe that this has to be said, but unlike this president, I'll do my job and take responsibility. I won't blame others, and I'll never forget that the job isn't about me. It's about you. Balderdash. Tiana?
There's such a meta point to be made. We all see exactly what's happened in this president's cognitive decline, in his lack of patience with the procedural norms of how this country is run. But let's just focus on that first point he makes. Republicans obstructing Democrats' goals to stop gas price gouging. Aside from the fact that we know the gas prices aren't being gouged by any American distributors, what has been this president's approach to reducing those gas prices? One, beg the oil companies to pump more, not authorize new permits for drilling on federal land, but beg Congress to institute a gas tax holiday, which, mind you, is still only 30 cents, or no, it's still only 18 cents in the gallon, which is very small in comparison to the growth that we've seen.
Yeah, it's like
gas
less
has
than
increased,
4%.
doubled. And then third, and now we know he's going to go to Saudi Arabia to beg the Saudis, after insulting MBS nonstop for the next 2 years. Now he's going to change his tune, beg MBS to bail us out by drilling more of foreign oil, when we all know that we already have the solution to drill domestically. And how do we know this? Because not 4 years ago, we were net domestic exporters of gas. We know we have the capacity to do it. We just have to stop scaring the market straight. We have to stop scaring the oil producers out of doing their jobs and making it so expensive for them to be able to do it.
I thought a new low is this administration also blaming the mom and pop operators of gas stations for overcharging people and do your patriotic duty and lower prices. But that's par for the course, because they've clearly run out of people to blame because they don't have any mirrors in the West Wing or the White House. Tiana, thank you so much. Good to see you.